Okay, I'm pleased to be joined by Senator Cantwell. We expect Senator Stabenow to be here any minute. We had a very good discussion at our lunch today, and we're at the starting line of a 5-week work period. Democrats are focused on making it as productive as the last work period, which was extremely productive. We'll continue working on legislation to lower costs and improve Americans' daily lives. That's one of our primary focuses. We're pushing legislation to lower the cost of putting food on the table, fight price gouging at the pump, keep the cost of insulin affordable, relieve supply chain crisis, and increase competition through antitrust enforcement. In all those ways, just take the Just take the example of the oil companies. They made record profits this year, more than they ever have. I think it's over $200 billion for the top companies, and yet they did record stock buybacks. Here, price of oil is going way up, and what are they doing? Even from their own point of view, they're not improving their own production, let alone help their employees or reduce prices. Instead, it's to feather the nests of CEOs and rich shareholders. It's outrageous. And one of the reasons we want to get Bedoya on the FTC is to look into it, but as you'll hear from Senator Cantwell, we're exploring legislative approaches as well. These are all areas where Congress can now take action to help American families. But to move quickly, of course, the way the Senate works, we need cooperation from our Republican colleagues. Pointing fingers isn't going to help fight inflation. It isn't going to lower the costs for American families. They need to get on board and not let extraneous political issues get in the way of the Senate delivering help for families. We're also going to continue to confirm President Biden's administrative... Hey, folks, can't hear. Thank you. We're going to continue confirming President Biden's administrative and judicial nominees. This week, we're teed up to confirm President Biden's nominees to the FTC, the Federal Reserve, Department of Labor, Department of Housing and Urban Development, and District Court. Now, we've had some issues with attendance that just arose in the last few hours, but we're going to continue pushing to get the President's nominees confirmed. These health issues will not deter us from getting these done. Also, during this work period, the Senate's ready to work quickly to approve the President's expected emergency funding request to support the people of Ukraine in their fight against Russian aggression. Once the President makes his request to Congress, approving additional aid for Ukraine will be a priority. I expect both sides to work in the same bipartisan way we did the first time to get a Ukraine supplemental done. So we got a lot to do. Let me call on, who's more senior? You came the same year. We'll do it by alphabetical. Cantwell. Cantwell.
Thank you, Leader Schumer. Thank you. It's great to be here with my colleague, Senator Stabenow. As the leader said, we're working on issues that affect everyday consumers on price. As you know, we passed out of the Senate a shipping bill that we're working with the House to resolve the differences on. This is very important because shipping costs have accelerated greatly and have raised costs on average Americans. We also are working on trying to get the chip and the competitive bill to conference because that particular issue is also causing everything from used cars to appliances to everyday products that consumers need to be more expensive. But we're also working hard on other issues, as the leader said, confirming Bedoya to the FTC. The Federal Trade Commission's job is to be the policeman and make sure that there are not unfair or artificially inflated prices. We know that when it comes to the issues of drug pricing, something that we've talked a lot about and are going to continue to talk about, the price of insulin has tripled over the last 10 years from $230 to $735 per patient per month. And so that is why the Federal Trade Commission has tried to open an investigation but has had a tie 2-2 vote on the FTC. So believe me, Democrats want to get Mr. Bedoya appointed as soon as possible to break that tie and to move forward on investigating this important issue. We also want to move forward. We had a hearing on the dark market that exists in the spot oil market. As our witness testified before the Commerce Committee 2 weeks ago, it is a gaping hole. We believe there needs to be more transparency in the spot oil market, and we are working on legislation to try to close that loophole and give consumers some understanding there is someone looking at the high prices, particularly when you have prices on the West Coast as high as $7 in California and big differentials in other parts of the country. Thank you.
Senator Stabenow.
Well, thank you.
Beginning with S.
Yes, I'm so glad that the leader knows the alphabet, so thank you so much.
On certain days.
Well, good afternoon. I just want to step back for a moment. I think it's so important as we talk about the things that we're doing this work period, the things that we've gotten done in the last year, to recognize again that President Biden, the new Democratic majorities, were left a big mess in terms of what's happening on COVID, loss of life, children not being in school, all of our small businesses, restaurants, others being threatened, and so on. Step by step, we are moving forward to address that. And I also want to note that when our Republican colleagues talk about the national debt, 30% of the entire national debt was created in 4 years by Trump. Over $4 trillion. So we continue to move forward. When I hear them, all I hear is they're complaining we're not cleaning up their mess fast enough. So now the next step is really fixing supply chains and bringing down costs and attacking price gouging. And once again, Republican colleagues talk about inflation, but where are they in working with us to be able to lower costs for Americans, including at the grocery store? And that leads me to what we did in the Agriculture Committee today. First of all, there are just 4 large multinational meat processing businesses that control 85% of the supply. 3 of the 4 are foreign companies. So when we look at this right now, the big guys are muscling out the newer, smaller meat processors who simply can't compete, which leaves both farmers and families in a very difficult situation. Lack of competition threatens our food security. We witnessed that during the pandemic. We saw empty shelves. At the same time, major meat companies saw record profits. And we know that price gouging does exist. So that's why the President, Senate Democrats are doing things to focus on this. The President has a plan. He's moved forward. We have the American Rescue Plan, investments to create more competition with small and regional processors, which, by the way, every Republican voted no on the American Rescue Plan. And in the committee today, we took up a hearing on 2 bills to lower costs, Senator Tuster's bill to create Meat and Poultry Special Investigator Act and a bipartisan Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act to help our ranchers get a fair price while consumers are not gouged at the supermarket. I would just say that Republicans talk and talk and talk, and we act and act and act. That's what we do, and we're going to continue to lead these efforts that are related to price gouging that is causing the incredible prices that people are having to pay.